Hi folks, it's your humble homesteader friend here with you again today. And would it be alright if I talk and work at the same time? Those who know me and have seen me at least in some of my videos, I'm too productive and efficient to just do one thing, and I have chores to do. And it's about 1 o'clock and I've already done my work at my elderly neighbor's friend, 4 hours of firewood. But I have to now, if you can see behind me, my garlic scapes, garlic moth that I have to look into, plus the scapes are doing their twirly thing. Maybe I'll show you if I remember. And but that's not what I wanted to talk to you about today. In addition to that, I think there's a road crew. We live on a gravel road. It's about 2 kilometers from the asphalt road. And I think they're here to work on it or fix it or do something with it, which is exciting. You don't know what this means unless you live in the rural. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing wild strawberries ready to harvest. For those, I did a video, but at the time I did the video, they were just flowers. Now they're fruit, and some neighbors tell me that this is a good year for them. Can I just show you one? Well, maybe I'll pick them because they're smaller. They're much smaller than what you're used to. But the thing is that the flavor is far more intense than also what you're used to with your store-bought ones. It takes a long time to harvest them because I have trillions of them. They're everywhere, and I use my wild strawberry plants, whatever, as ground cover instead of lawns and grass. I have more ground covers of different kinds, like bed straw, Indian brush, something that I don't recognize, and I don't know the name of. But anyway, I'm just going to pop these in my mouth. Actually, not to be rude, would you like one? I don't like berries with seeds, except for straw. It's so intense. Anyway, so with your permission, I'm going to do my work, and I'll talk to you as I do that. All right. Yeah, so what I wanted to talk to you about today was, I was in town. I need to do some weeding too. Well, the tomatoes are flowering. Today is, by the way, the last day of June. And it's already 29 degrees. For us, that's a lot. But then again, last week there was a day that was 42 degrees with the humidex, which we also are not used to getting. The humidex is what it feels like with the humidity. We're not used to getting that either. About the road crew, I apologize for any sound that you might be hearing for the trucks and that. It takes me back to when I lived in the city, and they used to say that we have two seasons, winter and construction. Winter and construction season. So it's rare to have any kind of noise here. You hear it in some of my videos, but they're here today. So anyway, I'm busy with the moth. Go ahead and have a look at the video of that if you haven't seen it. But what I wanted to talk to you today about is, excuse my back. You gotta pay some attention to what I'm doing too. But you go ahead and enjoy the video if you can. I was in town last week. This is a bigger town than the one that I live. My woodpecker friend. Hey, you go ahead. I'll shut up when you go. I'll whisper. I don't know why I'm always yelling. I am half deaf, or selective hearing, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, yeah. So I was in town, not the small town that I live near, which is called Woodstock. No, I was at the bigger town, which is actually the capital of New Brunswick. It's called Fredericton. It doesn't matter. You don't care. But there, I noticed and I saw, which is what this video is about. I was so, I mean, I have thought about this particular stuff. I know I haven't told you what it is. Just hang in there. Ooh, this is a bad one. This thing is pretty much, I have to cut this one way down. Look at this. Look at what the moth has done. Did you hear that sound? That was a woodpecker. You think it's the sound of an exotic bird from a rainforest, but look what the moth has done. You see those holes? Now, if I left unchecked, the moth can bore down the larvae right down to, it hasn't yet, you can see, right down to the garlic, and destroy the garlic. And anyway, so I've thought about this many times before, other years, but this was just more poignant to me this year for some reason. And you know how you've heard. Oh, I always forget these two. I have a bunch of I love that woodpecker. I don't know why. I have a bunch of volunteer garlics that from last year, when I was pulling them out, when I was harvesting them, some of them broke off. I love that woodpecker. Anyway, so what happens is that now they're coming up, but I keep forgetting to go to that bed and get rid of the garlic moth of those two. Yeah, so you know how, I'm sure this is, you've heard about this, although because I was more in tune with it, I remember from decades ago how they were talking about automation and robots and whatever now called. Ooh, this is a bad one. Oh, jeez. Another one of those bad ones. Really gone really far down. And now called AI. People are worried about losing their jobs to AI. But you know, there are people that are going to be losing their jobs to AI and automation, and they're not necessarily the same people. Automation and AI. Job losses associated with automation or AI. Automation is going to be affecting some of the folks who I really like sanitation workers, like garbage collectors. I don't know if I don't know what they're called now, but I don't know that I don't know the politically correct name for them, but they're one of my favorite people, because these folks, they really deserve our respect. They're out there. I see the moth. You see the moth itself, bastard. And they jump and fly away anyway, so there's nothing I can do about them. Sanitation garbage collectors, they never complain, they never go on strike. and they have the hardest job, I think, of anyone in this heat. And it's 29 only today. And like I said, 29. And there was a day last week that was, love ya, 42 degrees. So these people in the heat of the summer, and we're not even in the heat of the summer yet, in the dead of winter, in the blizzard, in the rain, in the wind, they're out there picking up these heavy garbage bag and garbage can after heavy garbage can and garbage bag, stinky, and I don't know what people put in their garbage cans, and they do it over and over and over again, day after day after. They don't just do your neighborhood and they're done. They're working every day, just in different neighborhoods. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not working. Much respect to any of you folks if you're watching this channel, but probably not, because you're probably busy hard at work. Anyway, so that's like automation, like cashiers, or that's automation. Gas station attendants, these are automation that people are going to lose their jobs to AI. Even mechanics. And no, sorry, that's not mechanics, or probably not automation. That's probably more like maybe a combination of AI and automation. But I I I don't, because those automation jobs are hard. I kind of don't mind if people no longer have to do those hard jobs. Even if being a cashier, folks, if you're ever most of the cashiers, 90% of cashiers that I come across when I'm in town, they're very nice to me. They're very smiley. They don't have to be. That's not part of their job. And they don't get paid a lot of money. I'm sure they don't get paid a lot of money. I'm sure of it. And so if they didn't have to do that, and like waiters, then it would be okay. It would be okay if it was more of a self-serve thing. I know what some of you are right now telling me or yelling at me about self-checkouts and that, but honestly, I think these people are underpaid, and whether those jobs are there or not, it's not going to make that much a difference in their lives. It's the amount of money that they're making or not making. So, and then there's the AI, which I really don't mind. These are people that are they're like computer programmers, lawyers, doctors, uh, uh, maybe tech supports, those kinds of people. And honestly, if they didn't, those, I think AI can do a better job. Honestly, I know what you're thinking. I've heard both sides of the argument, and I've argued about it with myself. But I'm still on the side of being in favor of AI there. But today, that's not what I wanted to talk to you about. Today, I wanted to talk to you about folks that I went to when I was in town. I saw these are folks that make, and I know some of them, 70,000 to say like $120,000 a year. I don't know what this is Canadian dollars. I don't know what that translates to in American dollar or euros or New Zealand dollars or Australian dollars. I don't know, but that's how much these folks make. But my point is that when I see this, so they're not wealthy, obviously, and they're not poor, because people with low income people don't make anywhere near 70,000. I'm not saying this because I'm like jealous or resentful or whatever, because I only make 5,000 a year. I'm not saying that, but I'm just worried. I'm even a little bit on the worried side, but I'm wondering how these people are going to manage. Should they? Because I'm hearing about layoffs from my people in my orbit, that people are getting laid off, and I'm thinking, if these people are middle management, upper management, civil servants, public servants, private or public sector, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm just going by the amount, the number. 70 to say $120,000 a year. When I see these people, these are people that I see taking more than one vacation a year. They are, they buy their new cars, and again, these cars that they're buying, they're not overpriced European cars, or supercars or exotic cars or whatever. Those folks, those millionaires or billionaires or whatever, they have savings, and if they don't have savings, they've hidden their cash or whatever offshore somewhere. So they're not going to be hurting. They're not going to be worried about any automation or AI. So that's them. But these people that are like I said, middle management, upper management, because in the past few years, because of the pandemic, I heard, have seen, a lot of these people get promotion after promotion after promotion because they're saying, oh, there's a shortage of workers, shortage of staff, shortage of whatever. And I, as it was happening, I was just scratching my head thinking, how can somebody get so many promotions in a row? How can these people get so many promotions in a row? And now I know that it was just BS, just like everything else. Because in my younger days, you're old when you say that. It took a long time. You had to really prove yourself. The position had to be open. You had to demonstrate that you're some leadership. You had to this, that, and there's so many hoops you had to jump through, know somebody to get promoted. And now people are just getting promoted just for showing up. Like kids right out of school showing up, getting coveted positions, government positions, whatever, whereas before you really had to know someone. And I thought, how is that possible? So now the people that were there before them, now they've moved up, become management or middle management, upper management, they're making even more money, which going back to that 70,000 number, $220,000 number. So they're traveling. In Canada, folks, again, I don't know where you live, how things are like where you live, but in Canada, everybody has everything. Now, the question is, do they own all these things that they have? They don't. There's a lot of it's borrowed money, so they're borrowing to go on vacations. They have huge debts, and it boggles my mind because I think the most money I ever made in my whole life was, I think, $17,000, and that was in 1 year, and that was, I think, 25 years ago, when I was in between schools and I had more time to be available to work, and I was a server, like a waiter, a glorified waiter, and so when I see people making as much money as they do, 70 to 100,000, and they have all these things that they don't own. It's on borrowed money, and I think these are people that no one is going to miss if they weren't around anymore. These jobs or these people, means the same thing to me. And so if they've not saved any money, if they don't own their houses, their cars, if they, how are they going to be surviving? I'm not even worried about them being the first domino to fall to cause a recession or even a depression. And I don't mean to be rude. I'm not worried about that because even though I'm not situated here where I live now, I'm not. I failed to. I didn't. It wasn't anything I did, but I wasn't able to. Wasn't allowed to. Be more like it. To get situated here enough to be self-sufficient. And since I've never made a lot of money, and so if there's a recession or even a depression, I think I would survive that. Because what am I missing? I've never really been able to walk into the store, any store, even a grocery store, and buy exactly what I want. And if it's not on reduced or on sale, at the very least, something that I have to stand there and think, do I really need this? You know? Whereas everyone I see is they just buy what they want when they want. And so what happens if these people are lose their jobs? And if they have a family, their family has also learned to be dependent on these folks, like on their parents, for instance, for everything. And so, if should there be a layoff, a mass layoff of some sort, I don't know what's going to happen. Now, the point of this video, I mean, I'm not an alarmist. I don't. No one ever listens to me anyway. But if you know someone that is in this privileged position to be earning between whatever that translates to where you live, 70 to 100,000 a year, 120,000 a year. I want to say maybe you can just have a quick chat with them and say, what would you do? Because they say, economists say, you should have 3 months of savings in case you get laid off or whatever. But these people, I don't think they have any savings. Because the people that I talk to, they say, and they make a lot more than what I just even told you. Not a lot more, but more. But to me, any amount is a lot. And they say, we don't know how. We owe so much with our income. Well, you're spending it. That's how. I don't know what you mean, but you don't know how. So I was going to suggest that maybe you can sit these people down and say, listen, perhaps you should have a bit of savings, but if you're anything like me, they're not going to listen to you either. So the point is moot. Folks, I think I'm done my garlic moth, but I think I should be doing my garlic scapes too.